Hello, sports entertainment fans, and we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and in the Facebook group for the We Can't Wrestle podcast. This is That's Not Wrestling. I'm Nate Maxon, along with, and he's on the road, 10-10-220 presents Kyle Army.
Yes, yes.
Or Lee
Calling
Marshall.
From the road. Can everyone hear me? All right. Good.
We can all hear you,
nitro
sir.
Parties. Yeah, we're having great nitro parties here.
Great nitro parties, and we'd have to get in. You'll have to get in a weasel joke at the end too.
Oh, yeah, this is true.
You have to have the obligate.
The sad part about it was, like, with those nitro parties, it's like, come to find out they were never fucking real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they fucking made them up.
What a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, because I was like, I want to fucking party with me, Nino Okerlund. I don't really give two shits about Lee Marshall. Sorry, Lee.
I always heard Gino was a party animal too.
Oh God, yeah. He's not the only fucking good thing of that abomination that was Ready to Rumble.
Yeah.
When he looks at Oliver Platt, he's like, people think I'm sexy. Yes, Gino, you were sexy, but
yes, Gene.
You know what's not sexy?
WWE SmackDown.
Fuck. So, okay. I came up with an analogy that I want to share with you.
Okay.
Remember back in 1999, 2000, when The Matrix came out?
Mm-hmm.
And then every fucking buddy did the slow-mo fucking fight scenes?
Oh, yeah.
Where they jump in there and spin around? Kind of what this is with WWE. Like, they just keep fucking going to this shit. Like, instead of it making it a spectacle, it's like a brand new kid with a brand new toy. Like, it's like we gotta fucking put it on everything.
And not to mention, oh man, I don't know. And I didn't watch SmackDown. To full disclosure to the listeners and the viewers, I have made the decision that I was going to give Impact Wrestling a chance for the first time in like 15 years. So this week I actually watched my first episode of Impact in over a decade, and to allow the time in my life for me to be able to watch Impact, I had to scratch something. And I decided to scratch SmackDown since it is the worst wrestling show in the history of wrestling shows ever.
I hate to say it, but it's worse than fucking Thunder in 2001.
Oh yeah, it's worse than 99. It's worse than 99 Thunder for sure. Even. It's absolutely terrible.
And it's sad because you think not that long ago we had Magnificent 8 on SmackDown, and it was so fucking good.
And I don't know.
I mean, we are so far removed.
So far removed from anything good, anything worth watching on that show. That's why I said I will still read the results online, and if it sounds like there's a match or an angle or something I want to watch, I'll check it out. But like looking through the show from this week, nothing that I read appeals to me at all. So I'm just going to skip it. I don't have time in my life to hate watch something.
And here's the thing about it, like the big thing, and I'm going to be fully honest with everybody, like I didn't watch it either. I watched clips on YouTube.
Okay.
Because I like myself, and I don't want to fucking,
So
I'm not going to sit my ass down and watch 2 hours of just bullshit just because, for what? Like, I know going into it, I'm not going to get enjoyment out of it. So I'm going to watch the clips so that way I can discuss what's going on.
There's so many other good things you can watch on your television.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm going back and watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm watching Hunters right now, and there's an anime my wife and I are watching, and I'm watching, if you have not seen it yet, you don't have the DC. Do you have DC Universe Online, or do you have HBO Max?
Sure I
do. Okay, have you watched Doom Patrol yet? Have you watched Doom Patrol? Doom Patrol is fucking fantastic.
Have you watched the Harley Quinn show?
That's actually, I'm going to start watching that when we're done with this anime we're
Oh.
watching. Yes, I've heard it's very good.
It is very, very good. And they play with the Batman canon like so well. Like it's just so much fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward definitely to watching that. But like I said, I mean, there's so much. I would rather go back and watch any show that I love. Justified. I thought about going back and watching Justified instead of watching SmackDown. Raylan Gibbons on Justified is a better babyface than any babyface in the WWE right now.
I'd rather watch Cake Boss than fucking SmackDown. I know what's gonna happen on Cake Boss. Just like I know what's gonna happen on SmackDown, but at least there's cake.
You mentioned
not getting thrown on somebody.
You mentioned earlier in our host chat the bar fight or the bar match or whatever the hell it was. I did not watch it, so I'm going to take your spin on what we saw.
Okay, so
or what you saw.
You have fucking Sheamus come walking in, shirtless, by the way. So that's my first problem with it. You're going to be in a bar fight. You're going to show up shirtless. Really? Like, that's why I've never understood, like, hardcore matches and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, the fuck are you doing showing up in your wrestling gear? Like, you know this is going to be a fight. Like, fucking have a little bit of protection. Like, but I digress. Like, okay, whatever. Sheamus is proud of his physique, so good on him. Cool. Then here comes Jeff Hardy out of, like, the fucking kitchen area. And they proceed to pull out every fucking cliche you can think of. Like beer bottles getting smashed, tables, but fucking wood chairs getting broken over. And then, for some reason, the bar, I don't know, because it look cool, pal. And then the crowning achievement, the fucking cherry on the top. Sheamus lays out, Jeff Hardy walks over, takes his fucking stupid looking fedora, puts it on Jeff's face, and is like, night night, pal. Okay. Puts the fedora on his head, on his face, walks away, fucking tells the referee, come on over here, let's count him out. Fucking goes to count out, and all of a sudden he pulls the fedora off, and Jeff Hardy has his face paint on. And becomes, I guess, Brother Nero. And then proceeds to do a swanton off a ladder onto Sheamus and beats him.
So they're playing Woken Matt with Jeff. Is my gist here, I guess.
Yes, and it was cut like I think right now, Nate, you would rather watch a Kenny Omega match than watch.
That is saying something.
It was it was fucking horrible.
Sounds awful. Sounds super awful.
It just.
And again, like I keep.
And the sad part about it, I don't think it was at the what was the bar that fucking the
Tim White's bar?
Yeah, no, I don't think it was that. They didn't even bring Tim White back for it. Like, it was your future fucking I hate to say it, but it was your future NXT World Champion that was the fucking bartender.
Man, I am glad I didn't watch that. Like, it's depressing. It's like that show is depressing. I have usually at least a couple of good things to say about Raw. But SmackDown is just depressing. It's terrible. I've never ever in my life seen a worse wrestling show ever. I mean, I've seen some crappy indies. Maybe something like that. I think we lost Kyle. Are you there? I can now. You were a spinning circle. You
All right.
were a circle there for a minute. You were buffering.
I was putting the face paint on.
Oh man.
But no, so here's my biggest issue with this whole debacle. All right. So like, you know as well as I do, you can't have very many characters that all do the same thing.
And
if you have Bray Wyatt doing it, then you can maybe get away with Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. Like back in the day, you had Undertaker and Kane. That was fucking it.
And that's why, like
yes, and back in the day you had Papa Shango too.
That's why I am firmly convinced that Vince is senile and has gone crazy, because rules that he used to have for years to make sure that the show made sense, to make sure that the show had structure, like you just said about you shouldn't have two people doing the same gimmick or what have you. He changed William Regal's name to William Regal because he said there were too many Steves on the roster.
Right.
You know?
It's like a shitty band that fucking discovers, I hate to say it, but discovers fucking effects and pedals. And they just put that shit on everything. That's what it is. It's just like, they're like, oh, we have this new toy, we gotta put it in everything.
Everything.
It's like, can't you just, like, I don't know. Like, again, if it was just Bray Wyatt doing it, then I would be like, all right, fine, cool.
That's
what it is. Like, yeah, that's his gimmick. But no, like, so now we've seen Jeff Hardy do it. We've seen fucking Bray Wyatt do it. We've seen AJ Styles and Undertaker do it. We've seen the entire Money in the Bank fucking ladder match do it. We've seen Rey Mysterio and fucking Seth Rollins do it. We've seen Edge and Orton do it.
Chris is here with us now, Kyle.
Hi, Chris. I'm calling from the road.
Oh, I just figured it was like another late night drinking live version of Kyle.
No, we were joking. We were joking at the beginning of the show. He's like Lee Marshall, you know. He's the 10-10-220 on the road guy.
I was listening to it because I lost track of time. I've been cleaning and cooking, and then I seen it pop up. I was like, oh shit.
It's good to have you here, Chris. We were just talking about that horrendous bar fight.
I did not watch SmackDown just because I am so over that.
Yeah, I'm done.
I didn't watch it. I'm just over the whole storyline, so I was like, eh.
I'm over the whole show. I'm not watching SmackDown anymore.
Literally, Sheamus put a fedora on Jeff Hardy's face, walked away, they did a cut, they came back, he lifted the fedora, and Jeff Hardy's face was painted like Brother Nero. With the fucking white out eyes and everything.
Kyle said, and I quote, Kyle said, Chris, and I quote, Nate, if you saw, you would rather watch a Kenny Omega match than this thing. Yeah, then that's the face I made.
You would rather watch Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy in a 60-minute fucking Iron Man match than this.
With Marco Stunt as the special guest referee.
It was just...
Well, that wouldn't be much of a match, though, because he's too damn short, he wouldn't see anything. There definitely wouldn't be low blows in that match.
That is true. Which is funny because we just talked about that on episode 101 of our Hall of Shame. I
missed that episode. I'm sorry, guys. I was out of town.
No, you're fine. But I put in there Dick Kick City. Like, we've gotten to the point now where, like, that's the finish to matches because they've fucking done, like, after doing 5 F5s, what do you do at that point?
Mm-hmm. You just kick him in the dick. Oh, man.
But on sidebar, from what I was hearing you guys say, Nate, I will agree with you. Oh shit, I just seen a shadow that was spooky. Nate, I agree with you. Doom Patrol is amazing. Kyle, you're wrong. I don't like the Harley Quinn show.
What?
That show, it's like they cuss just because they can. It's like they were like, we're on streaming. We can say fuck 32 times in 23 minutes just because we can.
You don't like Bane? Like, Bane is my favorite fuck character on that.
honestly, Clayface is my favorite because it's Alan Tudyk doing Alan Tudyk on 11. So, whenever you have Alan Tudyk playing a drama fanatic with like a fiend English accent where he has an excuse to always go, theater!
Wasn't the joke that they dropped on Doom Patrol awesome about that, about Mr. Nothing? Did you see that? Did you notice that? Yeah. When he's like, when they're like, he went to another animated show on our network or something like that.
Some animated stuff. I haven't seen him since.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it was. And then they like showed the little box down on the bottom, like check out Harley Quinn on the DC. Yeah, that was funny. I like that. That was a nice little.
Like Bane is
Doom Patrol has done like the perfect nuanced fourth wall breaks.
Mm-hmm.
But like Bane will sit there, he like goes to a barista that he has coffee, and they name it. They keep spelling it out Bay, and so like the episode is him wanting to kill Todd because he's like, Todd, you know my name's Bane, you know this.
The whole thing with Bane on the show is insert noun. I'm going to blow. Insert noun here up.
Yeah, this is true, but it's
I'm
funny
going to blow Todd up. I'm going to blow them all up.
But the first one's funny because it was some trivia night thing, and they're like, where did the Gotham Knights or whatever win their most games? And it's like, he says something, and it's like, no, I'm sorry, it's Gotham Stadium. He's like, well, I'm going to blow up Gotham Stadium.
I'm still gonna look. I'm still gonna watch it. I still gotta check it out. It's still on the list.
But anyways, back to the fucking horrible.
We went to DC Universe because we're still on SmackDown and we like to think of happy thoughts.
Yeah.
Now
we're like Peter Pan and learning how to fly again.
Now on the other side of the coin, with NXT, holy shit, am I ready to see fucking Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross?
I am too. However, and I'm not at all disagreeing with you, but to me, Karrion Kross's main event status came too quickly. There was no, there's been no build. You know, like I'm not saying you can't do that once in a while, and it's fine, and I'm sure they'll have a good match or matches, but I wanted to see him. You know, they don't build people anymore. Or if they do it wrong. And I think he would have benefited from a good build, being dominating in maybe 2 or 3 feuds, and probably let him have his title match when you can have an audience again.
And I agree
a real audience.
But the problem is that we're at this point now where, like, with Adam Cole doing what he's doing now, and with Mr. fucking Bro, Matt Riddle, being basically called up to the fucking main roster and being shit, like, they don't have time to fucking build him up. They need him now, you know?
Right. And that happens to NXT sometimes. NXT sometimes, in this world, NXT suffers from the same thing that ECW suffered from back in the day where, hey, we have a pretty good roster here. Shit. 25 of them just got raided. ECW suffered from that a lot back in the day. You made me have to jump in my notes, Kyle.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, we can talk about NXT. It was the better of the shows this week.
I'll be right
Chris,
back.
I want to get.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You can keep talking. I'm just stepping behind my computer.
I was going to ask you what your opinions of the Adam Cole fiasco.
I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea what really happened.
Basically, he went
Apparently,
on the show.
he went apeshit on McAfee. That's all I know. And everyone's like, "Is it a work or is it a shoot?" And I'm like, "Does it matter?"
It's true. I think it's a work. I don't.
See, I'm sadly to that point. The internet community of wrestling fans has got to the point where they've desensitized me to wrestling.
Well, yeah.
Because the basic internet wrestling fan has to know everything. remember the day when you didn't have to know everything and you enjoyed watching what the fuck you're a fan of?
I always, whenever we talk about that, whenever we talk about the internet and how it helped break kayfabe and hurt wrestling, the moment that always comes to my mind as a young wrestling fan is sitting there in 92, or not sitting there, but getting up on a Saturday morning, going downstairs, 11 o'clock every morning. Saturday was WWF Superstars. Every morning, or every Saturday morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. I looked so forward to that as a kid. I didn't have to go to school, and wrestling was going to be on in the morning. So I go downstairs, I turn on Superstars. Mean Gene Okerlund's on the stage thing, and he says, here's the new World Wrestling Federation champion, Bret the Hitman Hart. Little Nate about shit himself. Like, what? And you know, you could never have that moment anymore. You could never have that moment anymore where some title change happened on, you know, almost a week before that. And I had no idea the title had changed hands until that Saturday morning when I watched that show.
I mean, hell, now you know what they had for catering before they even start turning on the cameras, because you just got to know everything.
I will say this, though, okay? Watching that interview, it was refreshing and it was nice because they weren't breaking kayfabe, if that makes any sense. It wasn't like, oh, NXT's booking you this way. No, it was him basically being like, Adam Cole, like, the only reason why you were champion for as long as you was is because you had fucking Kyle O'Reilly and you had Bobby Fish behind you.
And see, I didn't, to be full disclosure, I have not actually seen the interview, so I wasn't sure how they got to where they got to.
Yeah. Basically, it was just that he basically says that, like, oh, well, you know, you're good, but you know, people compare you to Shawn Michaels, and you're nowhere near Shawn Michaels. And then he calls him Lil, and that's when Adam Cole, you know, freaks out or whatever on him. And to me, it was nice because it was back in the day when when they did interviews, like, they still brought kayfabe. It wasn't like, you know, oh yeah, I like Seth Rollins, you know, I'm booked to, you know, put him over or anything. It was like, no, fuck Seth Rollins.
He retweets me a lot.
Yeah. Like, no, I miss the days when it was like everybody would follow along. And I think that's the biggest problem with what we have now is when talk shows and even WWE Network does it. Like, you watch their, like, The Bump. It's all about behind the scenes. It's like, you're making it hard for anybody to fucking suspend their disbelief.
It's hard to be a fan now.
I can't even blame WWE or anything at this point because whether we like it or not, we will preach it. They need to cater to their fan base to be successful, and the fan base has created this environment. So, I mean, if they tried to maintain a pure level of kayfabe all the time, fans would shit all over it because they'd be like, you know, this shit ain't real, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, they painted themselves into the corner because they peeled the curtain back just enough to where the fans ripped that son of a bitch down and lit it on fire with Aquanet.
And I know we're getting off topic here, but like, what is it about, like, when you go...
There's not... It's okay, we can get off topic. It's not like these shows have a lot to talk about anyway.
No, but we brought up Doom Patrol just a little bit ago. What is it that separates Doom Patrol and WWE or pro wrestling, for that matter, where, like, people don't go and watch Doom Patrol and be like, well, you know, it's fake. Like, no, they fucking, like, suspend disbelief. They know they're actors.
Another problem with the wrestling audience now is what has happened is there are lots and lots of lapsed fans. There are not the fans of wrestling, like 90s wrestling, a lot of them have fallen off. And now what you have
has a phase fandom.
Yes, what you have is you have this core audience of 7 people or something. I mean, and I talked about this on, I think that when we recorded the podcast Friday, every single wrestling show combined right now has as many viewers as a Raw or a Nitro back in the day. Or, as a matter of fact, on Wednesday nights, AEW and NXT, their viewership they have less viewers every week between both shows than the Georgia wrestling show had back in the early 80s that Ole Anderson booked. So that shows you how your wrestling audience has shrunk, and it's shrunk into this little cult of, I don't even know. It's like sing along with The Rock all the time, every day. You know, I don't know. That's the best way I can put it. It has shrunk to this. This is what the audience is now. And I don't know. I don't even know really what I'm trying to say, other than it's almost like the fans have ruined what they love, I guess.
but still though, but here's the biggest thing. Like, okay, so back in like 96, 98, 99 and all that, like even the golden eras, like everyone knew pro wrestling was a work. Like we all knew, like it just people accepted that and still believed it in anyways, still watched it anyways. And even like in 97, 98, you had the internet, you had fucking Dave Meltzer, you had the hotlines and stuff. So,
back then, though, you still had the workers still maintained a level of kayfabe when needed.
And I think that's where it is. I think you're right, Chris, because like I'm sorry, Undertaker shouldn't have a fucking TikTok.
And now you've got wrestlers like doing the whole wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the right smart on social media. You'll have the boys going, you know, like retweeting or doing just the right emoji of, hey, you're onto something.
Yeah.
Just feeding into the
megalomaniacal.
Thank you. fan that just thinks they have to know every goddamn thing of everything because they just can't sit back in enjoyment.
If social media would have been around in the 80s and 90s, those wrestling promoters would have banned their wrestlers from having social media. I promise you that. Bill Watts would have been like, social media, and then pistol whipped you.
You know what social media it is? It's taking those posters out and hanging them up.
It's funny you brought up Bill Watts because it's immediately who I went to.
Yeah.
but I think it's also like with podcasts and stuff, and I know like we do it, Asylum does it, and everything else. But I mean, we're reviewing what is going on. Like very rarely, you know, do we really get like super into, you know, what's behind the scenes and stuff. But like hell, even Steve Austin's podcast or freaking, you know, Bruce Pritchard or any of them, even Jim Ross.
Steve,
like when you
Steve
constantly hear from them, like, well, but my point is,
because Steve didn't start doing it till he stepped away.
Right, and I understand that, but still, the fact is that once
Jericho, on the other hand,
right, but once you hear from these guys, the great stars of yesteryear, you're going, well, it sucks now, and you know they're really not as good as we used to be. It's like people are gonna be, well, okay. I mean, fucking Joe Schmo that's fucking drinking his beer that used to watch Steve Austin hears Steve Austin say, well, you know, my goddamn son, you know, they need to be a little bit more physical in that ring and get in there, and you know, like, oh, they gotta, like, they just absolutely suck this week. It's like you hear that shit every fucking, like, every week. Like after a while, you're gonna go, all right, yeah, it is.
He's right. He's right, and he is. Well, and that's why I've had the whole pro wrestling is dead thing, because it is. It's not. This isn't pro wrestling anymore, and I know I keep saying that over and over again, but it's not. It's just not. And once you accept that, you can. It's funny because once I accepted that what I'm watching is not wrestling, Raw isn't as bad as I thought it was. SmackDown's fucking terrible. SmackDown is awful. It is so bad. I literally quit watching it.
And that's fine. If this is what they want, sports entertainment, that's fine. But like, fuck me, give us wrestling then. Like, give us an alternative. Like, don't let this shit bleed into the stuff that we love. If WWE wants to make all their fucking product a fucking movie, then so be it. Fine, great, wonderful. But don't fucking bring that shit to NXT. Don't fucking let AEW. Don't fucking start.
Yeah, that's why I wanted. Chris is shaking his beard at you. That's why I was like, when they started doing like hokey, when they had the what was it, what did they call the Riddle Dunn tag team? I forget what they even called them. Broserweights, yes. When they were doing stupid like main roster type comedy with Riddle on NXT
into the luggage compartment of the airplane.
Yeah, or they did one of the things that WWE does where they use the screen and then put like a duck head or some shit on somebody. Just stupid garbage. And I always hate it when main roster stuff bleeds into NXT. It's like, stop, Triple H, you need to stop that shit at the fucking door. Put your big ass nose in the way and stop it. Speaking of NXT, this week I have to say just a couple of things I really like. I know I've said it a couple times on the show, I'm really digging the Thatch Can deal. I like that. I like him. I dig it. It's Stu Hart, baby. And I like those Everrise guys, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I like them. I like those guys. They all right.
I think they're the equivalent of the New Day version of jobbers. Have they ever won?
No, but I like them anyway.
They're like if Barry Horowitz was today in a tag team.
Both patting themselves
like
on the
fucking
back.
Mulkey brothers.
Patting each other on the back.
Well, no, what I mean is you know who they are, but you also know they ain't going to win. I'm still wanting to know exactly what's going to happen to what's his name. Like, I don't even know what the one of the new tag team guys with the painted foreheads.
Oh, what do they call them?
Because one of those is the ones that leaked the In Your House finish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I noticed they weren't on this week.
They haven't been on since. Apparently, he apologized, but I don't know what's going to happen. Because I heard that that show had not to do it too well, because everybody knew what the hell was going to happen. Because he was in the crowd, and he took a picture and posted it of Keith and all the confetti with both belts.
So, in other words, his buddy is going to come back as a singles wrestler, a monster heel with that manager guy, and
I don't know who any of them are. Like, I don't know who the tag team is. I don't know who the manager is.
I don't either, really.
The manager reminds me of like a New Age Clarence attorney character type guy.
Clarence Mason.
Yeah, he reminds me of like a new version of him.
I think of like a combination between him and Abraham Washington.
And apparently the new rumor is Vince wants to pull the trigger on a new Nation of Domination.
I heard that too. I don't know that you can do that in 2020.
Well, given the current climate of everything going on, and I don't see how you can make the Nation not a heel faction.
They're going to be the Nation of Toleration.
So apparently, it's going to be Lashley, MVP, Apollo Crews, and possibly Shelton.
Yeah, because Shelton was with them this week on Raw.
And apparently the other consideration is Ali.
I thought he was gone. Didn't he get fired when everybody got fired?
He was supposed to be the hacker.
Right, I remember that, but then for some reason I thought he got fired when they fired a bunch of people.
No, they moved him to Raw, and you still haven't seen him.
Well, apparently this is it. This is going to be his big.
Apparently, the hacker storyline went the way of GTV. We're just never gonna know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who fucking pays attention to that show anyway?
And why does every company have to have the ghetto ratchet chick?
It is
that now like a set gimmick character that every company has to have?
It's a stock gimmick. Like every company back in the day, every company had the Confederate flag wielding hillbilly guy.
Well, think about it. Main roster has what's her name that I don't like? Belair.
Mm-hmm.
Impact Wrestling doubled up, and they have Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz.
I was gonna say because I want to.
AEW has Big Swole.
Mm-hmm.
They're all the same goddamn character. Like, I was watching it because aside from SmackDown, I am proud. I am legitimately totally caught up on the product. Like, I was way behind on Impact, and I caught up. And after watching all three, I was like, just like I can't tell the difference between Swerve and Chris Bay.
Yeah, and
like they are legit interchangeable.
And Rich Swann too, really, to a certain extent.
He's got like a little bit of personality. Like Swerve and Bay both are literally just like the same. Hey man. Type.
Well, I want to get into. I want to ask you really quick. I actually want to get into since I watched Impact for the first time in 15 years this week. Yeah, that's what I've replaced SmackDown with. Before I talk about that, because I'm glad you're here because I want to talk about the show and you'll be able to provide me some insight maybe on some things that I was like curious about. Obviously, because I haven't watched it.
He's home.
Kyle's gonna dump the body in the desert while we do this.
He's here.
Can't hear Nate.
You can't hear me? You son of a. Let me take him out and bring him back in. Now can you hear me? No. Leave. Just leave and come back.
Since I'm talking mute, I wonder if I'm fucking him up because I do that when he comes back and he's like, shit, I still can't hear, but I ain't saying anything anyway.
No, Chris, I heard you.
Damn it.
Can you hear me yet?
Again.
All right, I'm going to leave and then try to come back.
Okay.
We can hear you now. Goodbye.
He couldn't hear me.
Oh.
He could hear you, but he couldn't hear me.
Well,
do you have anything?
I'm loud as shit, so that probably helps.
Were you happy to see Kingston on AEW like I was?
Kingston never really did it for me.
I like him. He's not.
I like his overall demeanor better than I ever did when he was in TNA.
NWA.
I like your demeanor.
I swear I'm going to look out my window just to see if you're out there because this is some creepy vibes you're giving off.
Hear me. Fear me.
Calm down, Seven.
Now Kyle's making me want to switch to my phone and go have a cigarette. But I liked the fact that he was on the show. I thought he had a good promo, which is his. Honestly, he reminds who he reminds me of a lot. He reminds me of Bubba Dudley. He's a mediocre wrestler, but he's a hell of a promo.
Yeah.
I think the reason I didn't like him that well in Impact is because they were trying to make him replace Conan, and it didn't work. But they were all in with that. And
now, see, I never really even saw much of him until NWA Power, because apparently
he replaced the role of Conan with the new LAX.
Oh.
which was Tito and Ortiz,
Mm-hmm.
because Santana, Hernandez, or Homicide Hernandez, and Conan left or something. And so they got 2 new members with those 2, and Kingston took over the role. And I'm also, speaking of LAX, I was really shocked. What's her name was allowed to wear that LAX gear on AEW this week. I could
Oh,
have swore that shit was fucking trademarked.
I don't remember the name because I just have written down women's tag matches. I don't watch these in AEW. I don't like AEW's women's
The
tag.
singles match. It was the 2 Puerto Rican chicks that fought.
Oh, yeah, I didn't watch that either.
Yeah,
No,
the one had she was member of LAX and Impact, and she still had like her old LAX ring gear on, like old as day, like LAX. I was like, how do you get away wearing that?
You guys continue.
I'm
You guys
pretty sure
continue
that's
talking.
trademarked.
I'm gonna switch to my phone. You continue talking.
Oh yeah, leave me with the creeper.
That is because Impact, knowing how smart they are, they probably let the fucking trademark lapse.
Well, I don't. Then again, I don't know. Well, no, because if they let it lapse, I doubt very seriously they'd be going by Pride and Powerful or whatever.
Oh, true.
Why the hell would you go by Pride or Proud and Powerful or whatever Tito and Santana are going by, and not LAX?
Then again, maybe it's also one of those things that since AEW did Bash at the Beach and everything else, the fucking
Maybe
lawyer.
it's one of those, or it could be just one of those things that they didn't notice it until she was already out there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I didn't catch it right away either when she came out, like they did. It was when they did the corner spot, and she was in the corner, and the hard cam, or not the hard camera, the other camera caught her leg, and I was like, rewind, pause. Yeah, what? That don't go there.
There's a reason why they left. Maybe they weren't getting paid. She can't afford new fucking ring gear.
The thing is, you could still get just generic blank gear.
No, I know.
It's just one of those things. I'm more concerned. I would hate to see. I mean, not that they couldn't afford the litigation, but I would hate to see Khan and company be dealing with a trivial trademark infringement display because this chick wore gear that she shouldn't have wore on national television.
What I love about this show.
Tony Khan sitting in his office gets mail for like some kind of cease and desist litigation because chick wore the wrong ring gear on camera. Knowing our luck, he's like Nate and doesn't pay attention to the females matches half the time. He's like, what the hell are they talking about?
What are they talking about? So I love this show because, I try to let the podcast be really, I make it really professional, and this show's totally unprofessional, and I love it.
And I'm just going to throw this out there. What is AEW's thing with sticking potential with unpotential?
What's that?
What is AEW's thing about taking potential people and just putting it in a guaranteed shit show? They sign a Brody Lee and they go, you know what? Dark Order. They sign Vicky Guerrero and go, put her with Nyla Rose.
Yeah. This is something that I was going to bring up about but I didn't have a lot of notes on the AEW show other than Kingston, and then I wanted to bring this up. One of the biggest crimes in a decade in wrestling is how Brody Lee has been treated by any promotion he has worked for that is a major league promotion. I hate his gimmick in AEW. He had a great gimmick in WWE, but he got mistreated. His gimmick fit him in WWE. He just got mistreated. I hate Mr. Lee or Mr. Brody Lee, or I hate it. It doesn't even fit him. I watch him on TV and I want to see Bruiser Brody, not Bruce. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And see, the thing is, like with me in WWE, one of my favorite things of him when he was Harper was probably one of the most trivial, goofy things that flew over most people's heads.
Yeah.
Oh, what? No, it wasn't even that. It was when he would do the headlock and would actually do like the gator roll with the headlock because he was from the swamp. And I was like,
Yeah.
first time he did, I was like, oh my God, that is so amazing, nuanced character thing.
Look at this guy with his wrestling instincts.
And guaranteed, I can almost guarantee majority of fans were like, why is he doing that? He looks freaking stupid. Because he's from the swamp, and that's what gators do, you goddamn idiot. But every time, like I said, the very first time he cinched in and went into that death row with the headlock, I was like, oh my God. It was literally then that I became a diehard fan of his, just because you've known me, both of you guys have known me for years. I am the guy that will latch on to a performer because he knows how to do the nuances to enhance a character.
And Luke Harper
I don't give a shit about your big spots, because anyone can rely on spots, i.e. look at Omega and the Bucks. It takes a special someone to be able to do a nuance thing to enhance a character without you even noticing that they're enhancing it, to where later down the road they've built this character so much you have compassion, whether it love, hate, whatever, for that character because of these little nuanced nuggets that they kept feeding you without you even noticing.
And that's what I like so much about Harper, the nuances, and Orton. Orton's really good at nuances. You know, that's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of his.
The thing is, Orton going back to the Legend Killer thing has me so aggravated at this point.
I'm still listening.
It has me aggravated at this point because he's been around for so long. At this point, being a Legend Killer is ultimately, theoretically, suicidal for him, isn't it? I mean, I'm not trying to be a smartass, but at this current juncture in time, would he not be considered a legend of his time?
Yes, absolutely.
So, being a Legend Killer, you're suicidal, aren't you?
You make a very.
Am I wrong?
No, you make a very good point. I didn't think of it that way.
But I mean, when you've been around so long, you become a legend, and you decide to go back to being a legend killer. You're a legend, dumbass.
Stupid Orton.
Stupid. And speaking of which, I will also say this: I felt that Big Show probably did one of the best promos of his career this week.
Yes.
It actually made me give a shit about that match. I knew he wasn't going to win, but that promo made you care. And I can't hear you, Kyle.
Is he talking? Kyle, are you talking?
I seen his mouth move.
No. Okay.
It's almost like when you bopped in and out, you screwed him up somehow.
Probably.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't believe that Show was going to win, but that promo of his was so good. I actually cared. I actually felt myself going, oh, they're actually going to have a really decent match.
I have in my notes here, Show's promo made me want to watch the match, because until then I didn't really have much interest in it. You know, it was just kind of there. And
run off of Extreme Rules that we couldn't put on the card.
Yeah, pretty much. My only other
spoke and you were like, okay, I want to watch this now.
My only other note from Raw before we dig into Impact a little: how many times do I have to watch a combination of Seth Rollins and Aleister Black, or Aleister Black and Murphy, or Murphy? And it's so tired. It's so tired. I like everybody involved in the whole thing, but I want it all to end. I want all these guys to go away for 6 months and come back.
I'm to the point with that company, just because you've done your arena to where it looks like a mini hockey rink. I can watch an entire NHL sanctioned game and not see that many people checked into the plexiglass. Can we stop?
Right.
Extreme Rules was like plexiglass durability testing version 1. and it's continued.
And I'm tired
it's
of
like
what.
the workers. It's like the workers realized plexiglass is really loud.
Yeah.
Let's use it.
And I'm
Wow.
tired. I'm tired of the fans beating on the plexiglass as well.
That's what I couldn't stand about Ring of Honor with them banging on the barricade.
Hmm
When they had the solid metal barricade and they were
Mhm.
like, ah! I'm like, no!
It's annoying. So let's
And like,
let's.
the only other thing I didn't like is I'm going to kind of like harp on the wrestler film, which is something that I really like that they showed nuance about. Remember in like, I think it was like the first match in the wrestler when Randy's going to fight Mohawk Dude,
Hmm
and you see the guys in the locker room discussing the layouts of their matches, and the one says they're going to work over something, and the other guys are like, we're already doing that in our match. Watch that, do
Mhm.
that. I should not see two matches back to back where the focal point is the arm.
Right.
As soon as they started doing that to Black, I was like, I already seen this.
Already seen it.
Pick a leg, pick a torso, pick a finger, pick a toe, take his boot off.
And it's
do
like
an
I was.
MJF, I don't care.
I think I was talking about it right before you came in. I told Kyle this. That's one of the reasons watching these shows that I'm convinced that Vince has gone senile and has gone crazy. Because for anything anybody can say about Vince McMahon, until maybe 10 years ago, 5-10 years ago, that guy there was so much attention to detail and meticulousness
Every match
put into
was
his
different.
show. Yes. And I mean, to the point where they changed the name to William Regal because Vince said there's too many Steves on the show. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, he used to be so meticulous about the details. And now it's like he doesn't
because,
care.
Like, then the matches, every match was different. You'd be lucky if you seen the same body part worked over a 2-hour Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're lucky if we don't see the same, like I pointed out this week, the same body part worked over in back-to-back matches. Like that, if I would have made it to the podcast, that probably would have been one of my shame things is diversity of working body part angles.
Yeah. Or
And my post a while back about the whole promos and calling your opponent a bitch, I can't stand it. Because like I said on that post, it's a no-win for you because if you won, big deal, you beat a bitch.
if you lose, you
If you
lost to a bitch.
Wow, way to go, you lost to a bitch. There's no winning for you once you call your opponent a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
It annoys the hell out of me. Like, seriously, as soon as they say that in a promo, I immediately don't even care about the feud.
And it's like I said about Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. At this point, you doing something like Sheamus or Jeff Hardy, which is using Jeff Hardy's diction for an angle, or using the word bitch in a promo. All of that stuff to me now is it's just lazy. It's absolutely lazy. It's just the laziest of booking, the laziest of cutting a promo.
And out of curiosity, during this feud, did Elias die? When he got hit by the car, supposedly by drunk Jeff Hardy, did he die?
Haven't seen him since.
I mean, I love the fact that dude could take a swan dive with a unnatural thud onto concrete and come back in a week, but now he's dead.
Now he's dead. It was the drunk driver that got him.
Drunk driver and a guitar smash that destroyed his arm or whatever. I can take a 1.5 story full back bump onto concrete and be fine, but don't hit me with my own guitar and don't hit me with a car. Kind of like Robert Stone selling that
The tank
going to be his
twice.
amputee from a Power Wheel.
Yeah, twice.
And the fact that Ali is acting like that thing's heavy to pick up.
It's so stupid. That's what I'm saying. I hate when main roster stuff leaks into NXT because that's some main roster garbage right there.
I blame Sammy Guevara for the whole tank thing. Because he did it first they were doing like a mock DX thing. And he rode that on a video doing the whole DX invades with a tank, and he was like,
Mhm.
yeah, here's their tank. And after that, Shotzi started writing when I was like, God damn it.
Son of a bitch.
And now Robbie E., who's actually a decent in-ring performer, has been relegated to some Rodeo Drive reject who gets his appendages broken by a power wheel.
And has the worst glasses I've ever seen, by the way.
Those are on purpose, though. Like, you can tell they're not even real. But those are on purpose. It adds to the character. But I'm like, why are they doing all this? He's not that bad.
Mhm.
He was a tag team with Jesse Goddard.
The military guy?
No, you're thinking Jesse Neal, the Mohawk guy.
Okay.
Jesse Goddard, I want to say, was the big brother guy, the real jacked up dude.
Okay.
It was him, Robbie E., and DJ Z. Oh, I'm sorry, Joaquin Wilde.
Joaquin Wilde. I love WWE's. They got it's like they've got a bowl of first names and a bowl of last names, and they just pull them out.
The old MySpace and Facebook name generator algorithm programs came up with better shit than that.
All right, so I want to spend the last few minutes talking about Impact because, like I said, I haven't watched it in over a decade. My first show in a long while. EC3
I'm kind of upset about it.
See, and I liked it. I liked the show. I was entertained by it.
I'll tell you why after you do your rundown.
Okay, EC3. I'm glad he's not in WWE anymore because they misused him. Okay, so you talked about this Chris Bay guy earlier, and one of my negative notes about the show was I've seen Willie Mack before. I've never seen Chris Bay. Chris Bay, to me, comes off as cheap. He stinks of cheap indie guy. To me, that's my first impression of this guy is cheap indie guy.
The first time I seen him, I don't know if you watched it. It was short-lived. It was like Ring Warriors or something.
I never saw it. No, I heard of it, but I never saw it.
Well, the reason I watched it, Chance Prophet,
Mm-hmm.
he was actually part of it. That's why I started watching it. And Chris Bay was on there, and I didn't really dig him there either. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much like you said. He's like the super indie.
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, I feel the same way about Isaiah Scott. Like I said, I think they're interchangeable. Like, I honestly feel like they could, if they were real life friends, they could be a smartass and be like, hey, let's try it out. And they could go to the other company one week.
See what happens.
And play each other, and no one would know because they're not interchangeable to me.
And believe me, my nickname's Swerve, so we swerved you. But yeah, I mean, totally. That was my impression. The match was decent. I actually like Willie Mack. So the Good Brothers promo. I love the fact that they are somewhere that I think they're going to get probably used properly. But one thing that's wrong with Impact is the one promotion that hasn't added some kind of fan reaction yet. They still have the completely empty arena. And something like the Good Brothers promo was a promo that needed an audience. Do you know what I mean? Like the way they cut their promo is a promo that needed an audience. And they didn't have that. So a little bit of it came off as awkward.
Well, Impact was one of the last ones to start doing a no audience show. I also think because Impact tapes so many shows at a time.
Mm-hmm.
A good reason they don't have a crowd per se is because as soon as the order went into effect, those are the shows still showing.
Right.
So, I mean, once the next batch of shows that they do or that are in the can air, they'll probably follow suit with the whole crowd thing.
Now, there's shows in Nashville, right? It's not in Canada. It's not recorded in Canada, I don't think.
I don't think so.
No. I was just asking because I didn't know if Canada had different shit. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on.
Access is Canada, isn't it? Yeah, Access is a Canada network.
Well, I don't know if Access is a Canada network, but I know Anthem is a Canadian company.
I want to say Access is a Canadian network. I'm not sure. I'll do some research.
Sawyer Fulton, I know. This Ace Austin guy, kind of small, but he seems like kind of a cool shit heel.
Yeah.
Seems like he's a big deal in Impact, and I've never even seen him before.
you wouldn't be he tried to crutch off of Stone Cold for a while because of the last name.
Mm-hmm.
He had like in his own Austin shirt, and it was something along the lines of like, "I just did your mom."
It's kind of funny. But I mean, to me, he came off as all right. Heath, yeah, that was fun.
He had the best light of the night, though. The last name, I have a last name. I'm just not allowed to say it anymore.
That was fun. Hopefully he gets a last name, like they give him something, because I don't know, Heath, Cody. It's just give the guy a last name. But
Cody doesn't need one, though, honestly.
And I'm glad to see.
He can't go by Rhodes because Vince is a douche nugget. And if he went by Runnels, then everyone would just say it's Cody Rhodes anyway. So I can see where he's coming. Just be Cody. I really don't need a last name at this point. They know who I am.
And I loved the added bonus of Rhino missing Heath's call. That was funny. I liked that. That was fun. That was cute. I liked that. And Hernandez looks much different than he did the last time I saw him.
That mustache was Brady. We didn't have it last week.
Okay. He didn't have... Okay, all right.
Like, when they show, I was like...
Total cholo.
With, like, the brush and everything, I'm like, what?
I mean, honest to God, the last time I saw Hernandez when he was fucking stacked, like LAX Hernandez, like stacked, looking like a badass. Not that he doesn't look cool now, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Like at one point he was jacked, and he looks like a completely different guy to me at this point. But it has been a long time.
He has gotten smaller. It's like he had like the Chris Masters disease.
Mm-hmm. RVD.
Its people's tone.
Yes, there's a cat singing its tune. RVD looks old. I haven't seen him in a while either. And is that his wife?
It's his something, and
because doesn't he have like sister wives or something now?
She's younger than both of us, and I think she looks older than Rob.
Oh, I was gonna say she looks a little trifling. I don't know. She looks a little, yeah. Like there might have been a lot of planes on the runway. I don't know.
The first time I seen her, I was like, "Who the fuck is this thing?" And I looked her up and everything, and she actually was a wrestler and everything, I believe. And I seen her age, and I was just like, because I think she's like early mid-30s.
Man. So is that a woman that RVD is with?
Yeah.
Like with?
Yeah, with.
Like I said, I know I had read that like him and if he doesn't have sister wives, him and his wife are swingers or something because they've got another partner. So this must be that person. But I wasn't terribly impressed by what I saw there.
And the sad thing is, since I worked where I've worked, she also does that type of employment, and she's very bad at it. And that's all she does when she comes to the ring. She bounces that fucking ass that looks like Hornswoggle got smuggled into some flesh jeans.
I will never be able to unsee that.
But I think she looks like the worst past prime stripper that's ever existed on the planet.
Yeah, she looks pretty awful. So I'm glad I wasn't the only one that had that feeling there. Katie something, I guess is her name. I have Katie written
Forbes.
down here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob has become the uncle that only shows up at family get-togethers when there's alcohol, and you regret it.
And he spends his entire time in the garage.
His whole thing now is that everyone has taken from his career. He is the major influencer of everyone. His style and everything is what made wrestling what it is today. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd brag about that.
Yeah, really. You know, I hate to say it, and it's getting off topic. There's not a lot left to talk about, though. It's getting off topic, but do you know who I blame for a lot of what we see now? It's not RVD. And it's not Sabu, because we don't see anybody with that kind of guts anymore. What I blame modern wrestling on, and I like them, and I did back in the day, and I still do now, but a lot of what we see now, I think Matt and Jeff have a lot to blame to take for that. They set a lot of that precedent, even for some of the wacky shit. You know, I just...
They are seriously to blame for the era of Hot Topic Indie.
Yeah. Oh, that's for sure. But, you know, like, I don't know, their style...
With our skin-tight shirts and Junko jeans.
Mm-hmm. The worst of ever, though, is...
4 people are jeans, but I had to pour into my shirt.
The worst of ever is when they squeezed Michael Hayes into that shit. But anyway, yeah, that was rough.
But he didn't go full Junko either.
That's true. That's true. But he did that shirt. I mean, you know, it was hugging the man boobies. Eddie Edwards.
That's what I don't like about Impact right now.
Eddie Edwards. Not a fan.
Not anymore.
So what turned you against?
Remember when Eddie Edwards looked like a wrestler?
Yeah.
And now he looks like the indie guy that barely gets booked.
You're not wrong.
Think about American Wolves, Eddie Edwards.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what...
Look at Eddie Edwards now. Tell me that don't even look like the same dude.
No, yeah, and when I saw him, again, a lot of these guys I have not seen in years. And when
is somebody else using that name?
Right, is somebody else using that name? And
as soon as they did the video package where you knew it was the same one, you were like...
And Eric Young is back. And I don't know, and I've never been a big fan of Eric Young. Aaron loves Eric Young. Aaron loves Eric Young. And I know you do too. I've never been a big fan. There's nothing in particular I dislike about him. I'm just not a big Eric Young fan. But I'll say...
He's one of the few guys that took normal and made it work. I'm not saying that to be mean.
No.
But when you look like even old Eric Young, like Prime or Showtime Eric or whatever,
mm-hmm.
He's never stood out to where if you've seen him walking, you'd be like, oh.
Right.
If you've seen him out, you'd just be like, hey, what's up, guy?
I guess with Young,
work.
the person that Young I compare Young to for me is I do not dislike him. I'm just not a big fan. I guess the person I would look at him and I would compare him to almost, and you can tell me if you think I'm off base, but it's Chris Candido. I think Candido did exactly what you said too. He was kind of a plain looking dude, you know, and he was smaller. He had good in-ring ability.
In the world of VCW, he really didn't look like a normal guy.
Right. But I mean,
in the land of TNA, where we were getting like the WWE handoffs and everything else, Eric was normal.
Normal size, normal build.
But he made it work to where he could stand on the same stage as the big names, as the homegrown talent, and you weren't questioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could stand up there with Storm and Rude and Williams and all of them, and it wasn't out of place. It was believable, and you thought no matter what, he was going to get his ass kicked, but he had a shot.
When did they do the
Candido? I never really got that vibe.
I don't know. I see similarities in the two. I see what you're saying though. That there is.
Did you ever look at Candido and go, "Yeah, you're just going to go out there and get your ass whooped"?
Well, when he was in the WWF, I did. But yeah, I guess you're right. In ECW, but also in ECW, he was the most. I guess out of his faction, you know, he was the most plain with the when he's standing next to Shane, standing next to Bigelow. And let's not go on about that poor guy and his ex. So why does Moose have the TNA championship? All right, I'm glad you have no more answers than I do.
Remember when Duggan found the WWE belt in the trash at for WCW belt?
The TV title? Yeah.
In a completely different state where it was thrown away. Pretty much how Josh Matthews said, it's a prop he found in storage.
I mean, and I
think it's a rebuttal and a way that Impact was trying to battle Blanchard no-show situation.
Mm-hmm.
We had to have something.
I mean, I thought it was funny. Josh Matthews was making me laugh with he's going to defend his championship. Like I thought it was funny the way they tongue in cheeked it and everything. But I just didn't know how we got there. Like, what was there an angle or something that?
No, he just literally showed up with it.
Okay, that makes it better actually.
Like I said, literally like how Duggan just found the belt. Moose showed up with the belt.
You know what's funny? I don't hate that. I think it's fun. It's fun.
The thing I'm okay with about though, like they're almost treating it like a Legends title to a point. Because for a while he was only defending it against old school and original TNA names.
Mm-hmm.
Like they brought Chase Stevens in to fight him. Like they brought all the old guys in to go against him. So, I mean, it was giving almost like a Legends where we came from vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I was cool with that. So, I mean, I'm kind of interested to see where they go with it from here. My biggest thing with Moose is I don't understand the whole why they felt the need to put him in a Robert Roode bathrobe.
Well, all right. Let me be perfectly honest. Other than pictures of him, this is the first time I've ever even seen the guy work. So I didn't. For all I knew, that was a shtick from the beginning. I didn't. Trying to find where there was something I was going to ask you about, and I had it on my computer, not my. That's why I should always just use my fucking notebook. I sound like Cornette now. Yes, I write on paper. Paper. I don't put it on a computer. I don't even have a computer.
While I'm on my podcast.
While I'm on my podcast, yeah. Oh, yes. I like these guys, the North. And I don't know jack shit about them. Where did they come from, and how did I miss them?
They actually showed up during my hiatus of Impact. Because remember, I had a hiatus of Impact when they were doing like their network bouncing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period where I couldn't watch it because
they were on a different network every couple months. Yeah.
But I dig them. Paige has been around for a while. I don't really know much about Alexander. Paige is actually a really, really good talker. If you couldn't pick that up already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved their promo. I didn't
like their tandem. Pretty much is Paige gets them into trouble,
mm-hmm.
and Alexander gets them out of said trouble.
Here's what I went into Impact thinking. As a wrestling fan, you know who the good people are, who the good workers are, who the good. It's like for me watching Impact this week was like going to my first time going to an indie fed that's been around a while. If I walk in, sit down in my chair, look in the ring, and that wrestler comes out, and within a couple of minutes, I know he's a heel or a face. I kind of sort of get his gimmick. I kind of sort of maybe might know what kind of a match I'm going to get out of him, what his story is. And then I watch him in the ring, and he does something that makes me smile or makes me go, ah, yeah, cool. That's kind of where I went into this. And those guys did that for me. I watched their promo. I watched their match. In one night, they made me a fan. That's the mark of a good performer. They did a great job. Even though they lost to a great team, they did a great job. I like them. I'm a fan after one night.
That actually shocked me. I did not think they were going to put the gold back on Guns already.
Especially immediately.
But
well, I guess that's
truth be
it.
told, like they said, they were champs for over a year. They literally had gone through the whole tag team division. There was nothing left for the North to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense.
Kind of your climax of their story, yeah. So that being said, we'll probably wrap up the show because I gotta pee.
And the Deaners. The Deaners.
The Deaners.
They weren't on this week, were they?
No.
You're going to shit when you see them because you're going to remember old them.
Right. Cody Deaner.
Yeah, the mullet, trucker mustache with all the duct tape in the fanny pack.
Mm-hmm.
Who now looks like he ate that Cody Deaner.
Like in a good way or a bad way?
Like, good way. Like he used all the protein from old Cody Deaner.
Okay, the protein, not the saturated fat. All right, gotcha.
And cousin Jake, who you remember as one half of the Painkillers.
Oh, you told me. Yes, you told me that before. Yes.
Who looks like he ate both of the Painkillers.
Well, hopefully they're on next week and I can check them out. But that being said, also, because I have Impact Plus now, that's something that I'm going to be doing is going back and watching. I think I'm just going to pick up, since there's so much to watch, because they have everything on there, which is awesome. But I'm just going to pick up where I left off, which was probably, I don't know.
3 weeks after they debuted?
No. Because I actually went through... Oof. The last stuff I remember was when like Petey Williams and Eric Young and Scott D'Amore were the Canadian faction.
Petey is still around as far as I know, too. They brought Petey back.
And Scott D'Amore and Don Callis are booking it now, aren't they?
Yeah, Scott's in charge.
I could tell. I could tell watching the show. He's a good mind. And
he's still a good talker. Like that back, I don't remember if you've seen the backstage segment this week of the North with Scott.
No.
Yeah, that was last week. That's how the match happened, is because at Slammiversary, Machine Guns came back and they pretty much put the North in check. And they went back and was like yelling at Scott D'Amore. And he was like, "You're right. And I know you countrymen are not going to let this stand. I know the best way to settle it is you guys are just going to have to show the Motor City Machine Guns who it is. You got a match." And yada, yada. And he shut the door, and they're both like, "Wait a minute. That's not what we said."
But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm actually thinking about possibly, maybe, doing a weekly podcast on it. Like going back and watching the show and then doing, I don't know. We'll see how that stuff always goes with schedule. Aaron and I have talked forever about doing we've talked about before doing a podcast of ECW, because on the WWE network, literally ECW is the only promotion that you have from beginning to end everything. So we've talked about how it would be cool to do a podcast of just ECW from beginning to end. Every week we watch a show. If there was a show, then a pay-per-view, we watch the show and the pay-per-view, doing something like that. It's just a matter of finding time in the schedule. If I could just
time in your life.
Yeah, if I could just win the lottery or start making money doing this fucking podcasting, then I could just do wrestling podcasts all day long.
Well, not all of us can be Conrad and have a mortgage company and do podcasts.
Roll Tide. That being said, Chris, thank you for joining me. Ominous Kyle, thank you for joining us for a while and then disappearing as quickly as you came.
The Boneyard Swamp got him.
Yeah. Ominous Kyle, that's his new name. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, viewers.
WWE has had 4,000 KOs. We have one okay.